Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander epic going down on Dual Gap Adaptive. Normally the haven or reserve of the average Joe. Today we've got an eclectic mix of pros and Joes, but the Joes we do have are of the higher caliber Joe. You know, the sort of chap who can prepare himself a slice of toast without leaving half a pound of breadcrumbs in the butter dish. So well done to them and their abilities. Anyway, we'll give our players some time, allow them to gate in, and we'll make our important introductions, starting with Team 1 over here on the left. Up at the top hand edge to begin with, in Cyanide Cyan, we have Robort. There he is, going UEF, as we say, opening first land. Team member number 2 down here to his southeast in Mellow Yellow. Oh, right, it's Astronom. There he is, going Seraphim, opening first air. Interesting decision. Wants to get that transport out to the middle, I presume, ASAP. And last but not least, on the top side of the river, at least for Team 1, it's Bushido. There it is. That's my little homage to the Japanese culture. It's actually not. It's my impression of Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur, but not just any Soul Calibur, the Dreamcast version. If you're old enough to remember the awesomeness that was when that came out, then you're all right by me. Anyway, he's going UEF in Pontiff White, opening first air. On to the south side now. We have a regal purple jobby, this paraplegic sloth. I'm going to give this guy the prize for amusing name of the week. That is quite the disability for an animal that's already one sandwich short of a picnic. Anyway, he's going Cybrin, opening first air. Team member number 4 down here in electric blue, it's Otterwalt. There he is, going UEF, opening first land, second air. And last but not least, down here in breast cancer awareness pink, it's Pickup Master 3000. That's why he's rocking breast cancer awareness pink. He's simping for the ladies. Anyway, he knows what's best. He's going Seraphim, opening first land. So racial makeup of Team 1 is comprised of 3 UEFs, 2 Seraphim and 1 Cybrin. Got there in the end. Well done, Guile. Let's check out Team 2 now on the right-hand side, starting with the man, the myth, the legend. It's Will-O-Wisp, or Willow-Whipsy, as he likes to be called these days. We're going to call him Willow. He's going to go Seraphim. He's opening first land, second air, and he's gone Ferrari red. Team member number 2 to his southwest in Spetsnaz green is Active Backlash, another Cybrin, opening first land, second air. Having already left his base, team member number 3 not keen to hang around. He's gone Cybrin, he's gone Combat Green, he's gone first land. His name is Flagon Sackett 10. We're probably going to call him Flagon. Or is it Flagon? I might actually just call him Sackett. I'll make up my mind as we go along. Anyway, there he is. And he's already got a lab out looking for some saucy little engineers to gun down as they go about their merry civilian business. What a scumbag. That was quite harsh, Kyle. I don't know where that came from. Let's check out the rest of Team 2, starting on the south side in this season's fabulous Vivacious Violet. Maybe this guy should get the Amusing Maiden Award. It's Schmuck Benny. He's going Aeon, and he's opening first land. There he is, team member number 5 down here. We've got Hoshmosh in Lurid Green, another Cybrin going double first land, and last but not least is Prophet going UEF, double first land, followed by third air in Burgundy Red. Racial makeup of Team 2 is 3 Cybrin, a Seraphim, a UEF, and an Aeon. So there we have it. Transports away from Team 1, dropping engineers off towards the middle. That'll be those first air factories we saw coming out from Astronom and Bushido. Lots of interceptors flying around. I want to keep track of it, but I'm not finished with my introductions as yet. Interceptor out from Robort does discover an inbound transport from Active Backlash, but some good coverage from Will-O-Wisp means he's probably going to be able to offload all of his cargo safely at the very least. However, if he's making a play for these mass extractors, he's a little bit late because Bushido already has 4 units of build capacity and an operational land factory to boot. Instead, he's going to settle for some of the mass field grabbage which is going on down here. However, there is an inbound engineer en route from Bushido. Wants to make sure he gets his fair share of that mass. There's that saucy little hunter we saw early on. He's still alive. He's backtracked slightly, and even when he does find an engineer, it doesn't manage to kill it. There he goes, Bushido's engineer, alive and well on 45 hit points and making a run for it. Sensible decision, if you ask me. We've also got transports moving out in the south here from Sloth. He's offloaded engineers to this little duo point here. And take a moment to appreciate these floating wrecks. It's something you don't see every day. Maybe this isn't water, it's something that looks like water, but is more dense than battleships. So even when they're full of holes, they float. Interesting. I don't know why they haven't gone to the bottom like they usually do. Anyway, back to the game. Sloth managing to grab 5 mexes over here, and has also dropped off an engineer to the reclaim, or 2 engineers in fact, to the reclaim in the centre. His mirror on the other side of things has got a naval yard up and running. Scrap that, almost 2, there we go, 2 naval yards up and running, favouring getting that build power up and running ASAP. I still haven't had a chance to talk about our pros and joes, but we'll get there in a minute, I'm sure. I'm just waiting for the initial encounters to die down. Bushido having another probing attack here against Backlash. Backlash, as his namesake suggests, not one to rest on his laurels and allow such a thing to go unpunished. Shoos those forces away with a handful of Mantis. So now things have calmed down ever so slightly. We can take a look at who's who. People to look out for. We've got pros, or top pros I should say, in Pickup Master and Otterwalt on Team 1. There they are, Otterwalt in blue, Pickup Master in purple. That's purple, Kyle. That's breast cancer awareness pink. Purple's right above them. Anyway, blue and pink down there. And we've also got the top pros on Team 2 in exactly the same mirror position, so they've thought about their starting locales. I like it very much indeed when they do such a thing. Profit is 1900 and Hoshmosh at 1900. Otterwalt was 2000 incidentally, and Pickup Master are a very respectable 2100. So slightly outmatching their opponents, or outpacing them over there. And the Joes today are 1400 for Astronom in the yellow. And on the south side of the river, Paraplegic Sloth handling all naval operations. He's also a 1400. And then for Team 2, we've got 1400 in Schmuck Benny handling the water. And have we got another 1400 for Team 2? I thought we did. Yes, we do. Active Backlash in the centre there. Also at 1400. So very well measured. Game quality at 92% and a very slight advantage on paper for Team 1, but it's minor. Nothing to write home about. And are we going to see a solid run-by attempt here? A decent amount of T1 spam that could make a play for the main base. Willow is back here with his con as the last line of defence, the fullback if you will. That could bring that chappie out to defend, but it looks like he isn't going to have to worry about it. No run-by on the cards. Instead, Astronom and Bushido making the calculation that they better spent with their forces up front, trying to mute Backlash, so that's what they're going to do. Backlash bringing his commander further back to try and contain this, but there's a fresh round of spam coming in through the front door, and not in a good way. And those mexes are going to be torn asunder, along with those forward factories, I imagine. We've got some nice unit composition here, with a mixture of tanks and artillery pieces. So able to chop down those structures in good order. Backlash taking a kicking here, down to 3 forward factories. We have got a decent amount of factories over here as well for Flagon, Sackett, but he's not sticking around to help. He's like, forget that! And off he goes back to base. Probably not a terrible idea. Backlash isn't quite in that pessimistic position yet, thinking it's all over. Doesn't want to yield this forward position, but it might not actually be up to him. There's an awful lot of T1 spam now coming out from both Bushido and Astronom. Oh, and he's invested in a land headquarters right on the front line, and that's not going to make it. Oh dear. That is a lot of extra resources in the toilet for Backlash. How unfortunate. 4 factories down here for Flagon. They're not going to make it either. Didn't really put up much of a fight. Com almost back at the main base. What's been happening down here? There was some harassment going on. We missed it because we were focusing in on the T1 spam battles up here. You can see a couple of slivers floating around under the water, and there's some sylphs trying to keep them in check, but there's a decent little forward attack attempt here. You can see some wrecked torpedo launchers, a destroyed engineer. You see, those ones sink. How were those wrecks on the surface able to float, I ask you? It's preposterous. Map devs, get to it. Fix immediately. Wow, look at this. And that's an upgraded comm there. You can tell by the rate of fire instantly. There is too much firepower and pressure coming out from Team 1. And that's a big old grab. There are a lot of mass points in the center to be had here. And Team 2 has just yielded all of them. Will-O-Wisp bringing his commander out. Mass seeking at the moment. But yeah, Team 2 looking very much bottled up now in their main base. Will Team 1 attempt to harass here, or will they just hold the entrance to their enemy's base? Looks like the former is the option that they've gone for. Engineers back here for flagging, spamming up T2 point defense. 2 Cerberus turrets online with many more queued up. These are T1 P-Gens, but T1 engineers just trying to impede the progress of this horde of T1 spam by building as many wall sections as quickly as possible. All of those civilians are going to get cut down in their prime. How terribly sad. But it has gone some way to impede their progress. And those Cerberus turrets are going to get the work done. So Bushido and Astronom will pull their forces back. T3 on the way. Over here, Otterwalt with shielding already, working on rover drones. He is one of the top pros in this game, remember. He's going full macro, not involved in any other part of the game so far. Very much the same sort of situation over here. Hoshmosh is mirror. He's pulling in 106 mass. Otterwalt pulling in 108. I'm hearing strap bombs going off, and it's over here. What did they kill? Couple of dead mexes by the looks of things. Willow wasting no time, got his T1 interceptors. Takes a long time to chew through those hit points. We did have one defending ASF on the field from Prophet. And considering, well, did they take this out as well? This might have been their first attack point. They took out a couple of mass points there before moving on maybe over here to Backlash. Just a few too many T2 PDs in this main base, though, for this T1 spam to have any real effect. And that Strat Bomber out from Pickup Master. I was just saying that yet to really get involved in the game. That's what he did. He went straight for T3 Air and rushed Strat Bomber. Couldn't afford any air superiority fighters that early on as well to try and escort detail. I imagine with a 2100 that will be as close to pumping out a Strat Bomber in this game as is humanly possible. He's got himself a couple of ASFs now. But alas, too late to allow that Strat to do some serious damage. And now we seem to, judging by that line of attack, that trajectory that those forces are moving on, could we see some sort of, it's not really a run-by attempt now because forces from Team 2 have been well and truly depleted in the middle, but could we see a probing attack through one of these channels? And will Willow be goaded into defending one at the expense of the other? Lead Lobo coming in. That's what Willow can see from his position on Team 2's side of things. Has got himself a couple of ASS, or have they been gifted over? No, he's got a T3 Air Factory. Currently recycling his T2 P-Gens for extra mass. Now that he's got his T3 reactor online. Using that mass, no doubt, to complete those core mass upgrades to T3. That's something, if you're new to the game, you need to learn. That's mass efficiency, things like that. Get your T3 reactor online, hoover up the mass from the T2, and then plow it into upgrading, completing the upgrades towards T3 mass points, and then go all out on power production for multiple reactors. RAS upgrade done for Robort. Where are we? We are 13 minutes or so into the game. Mass-wise, comfortable lead on generated eco for Team 1. But I think Reclay must have been better for Team 2. Very definitely so. They're up 8k on that front. But they are slightly behind by about 4k. In terms of total mass accrued, but it's still close for the time being. Problem, of course, is that Team 2 have yielded the center, where we've already mentioned the sheer number of mass points that are there to be had. So if it goes uncontested for very long, that will be a huge advantage over to Team 1. You can see they haven't bothered to tech up these ones down here, and for good reason. That is pretty close to that little shoreline, that curved shoreline, almost a harbour area, if you will. And the sea game is still very much to be decided. Wouldn't take an awful lot for Benny to sail in some cruisers into this area and take out all of these. So no point in investing in that beforehand. Much better to spend the eco on mass points which are well out of range, which is what they've done. Shield gens going up to give them some coverage. And he's even gifted some of these mass points over to Pickup Master. Wow, neck and neck on generated eco now. Team 2 actually pulling ahead at times. Very interesting. That will not necessarily remain the same as long as this goes on. And that's an interesting upgrade. Tactical missile done on Robort. Now, why would a comm this far back from the front line be going for an upgrade of that sort unless you were going to do something funky with him? We'll keep an eye on that. Very much an aggressive upgrade. Not the sort of thing you would go for if you were going to leave your comms safely in the rear. And a torpedo upgrade for Sloth. Again, another aggressive upgrade, albeit a sea-based one. That might just be a more defensive one. Speculating that he might be behind on Navy. It might be needed to defend the channel coming into the harbour area. RAS upgrade on the way for Bushido. Horsch can do fast nuke, says Robort. Can we sneak nuke on Otto, says Flagon. Gives you an idea, a flavour of what these players are thinking in this lull period of activity. As everyone consolidates their position and starts to tech up their eco. Handful of torp bombers brought out from Sloth to attack some of these vessels who were just encroaching a little bit too close from Benny, trying to take out that cruiser, and actually managed to take it down to about 1,000 hit points. But of course, a lot of anti-air on those cruisers, and there's even some flak posted at stationary locations in the river, or the lake. What would you call that? Two channels moving into a... I mean, you wouldn't call it anything, unless this is a single flow of water moving in at least one direction. Could be some weird meandering bend with some geological weakness on this side, which made it erode in a strange fashion. Perhaps. Who can say? E. Asking for energy. Who can say? Strategic missile defense going up. Oh! And there's the second part of that upgrade. A tactical nuke, or Billy, on the way for Robort. 37%, or 36%, there's 37. Complete for him. RAS upgrade still moving for Bushido. 1.3k apiece, although it did look like Team 2 were ahead on 1.4. There we go. Team 2 actually ahead on eco, ever so slightly. But still down some 14, 15k overall. Huge totals being racked up now. You can see how fast those total mass counters are moving. But then this is a 6v6, so not terribly surprising. And there is that attack that we were warning about at the beginning of the game. It wasn't really beginning, it was about 5-10 minutes ago. From Benny. They were all T1 mexes. Bushido loses out, but not by too much. Minimal investment. Might not even bother to reclaim those unless he can see some solid progress in the water coming from Sloth. But tentatively, just looking at these two fleets here, say there's slightly more fleet power on behalf of Team 2's fleet. What have we got here? Mass cost 13,000, DPS 2,800. Compare that to Benny's fleet. Mass cost 27,000, DPS 5,700. So yeah, that's a lot more danger. They've got more T2 vessels. Look at that horde of destroyers right there. Those frigates and subs caught out. Didn't last long over there, but they can now just skirmish with these longer ranged but very slow muzzle velocity destroyers. I know that's part of the balancing. I think they have the best range of any destroyer, but their muzzle velocity is shocking, and it does make them pretty easy to evade. I still feel like that needs a minor tweak, a minor balance adjustment, but either way it's not deterring Sloth here, who is making a solid move against these forward naval facilities. Very brave considering the array of destroyers in front of him. We've even got some torpedo launchers kicking about in the area. T3 sonar, they'll see absolutely everything, and after that initial encounter, that initial exchange, Sloth realizes maybe that wasn't a great idea and pulls back what he has retained. And now we've got a tactical nuke on the way for Bushido. Completed his RAS, went for TAC missile, now tactical nuke, and working on a teleporter right now is Robot. So we're going to get some funky play emerging here. Very exciting. And what? We're 20 minutes in and we've got artillery. T3 static artillery already raining down on Team 2. Who is the saucy builder? That saucy builder is Otterwalt. Saucy name for a saucy chap with a Duke at 21 minutes. Naughty, naughty. And what's he doing over there? Well, he's gone all for a nuke launcher. Well, full standoff tactics for him. This could be a major source of disruption now for Team 2. Pretty comprehensively shield bases down here, so it's not going to be easy to break right off the bat. Some shells have landed. You can see some damaged reactors, a damaged mass fab there. And we've already got Duke as well from Hoshmosh. I suppose, I mean, they're not spending their mass on anything else. Calm down, guys. Honestly. What else are they doing? Literally nothing. We've got some ASFs buzzing around for profit, but that's it. Is it really that surprising? Everybody else has been skirmishing on the water, but these guys here and here doing very little other than building big toys. It looks like Pickup Master is going to invest heavily in air production, assuming he's allowed to keep his air facilities as shells rain down upon his reactors and start taking out multiple facilities. Now the shields are blinking on, but alas, a little too late to save some of those, and the teleporter is done, and Robot's not hanging about. He is activating immediately. Where is he activating to? We have a congregation of ACUs over here, and we've got Robot spy planes buzzing around. Where is he going? Of course, Billy Nuke unlikely to be able to penetrate the water. Hoshmosh might be a little bit shallow. No, trick of the eye or optical illusion. Not shallow in the slightest. Is he gone? He's gone. Where's he gone? I can't see. Where is he? Oh, he's still there. He's still there. Did he cancel? He must have cancelled his upgrade. Or his teleport, excuse me. Now he's teleporting again. ACU's... There's he... But yeah, again, it's not going to be able to do much. unless one of those comms emerges onto the water. He knows they're there because of these spy planes, and that's what he's gone for, but the water will protect. Oh, that's a big old overshoot. What on earth? Is that where it was supposed to land, but it went wayward and long, but it wouldn't have made any difference. I don't think. How are we getting on that second Billy? Bushido presumably working on teleporter now, I guess. Starting teleporter, there we go. So Bushido about to do a similar trick, and Robot has teleported back home. I don't want to say that was a fail, but it wasn't great. Not a fantastic outcome. T3 engineers moving in to help create the next Billy Nuke. How long on this teleporter? Still a little ways to go. I wonder where he's going to go now. Surely not going to try the same thing. Artillery barrages continue. Second Duke almost complete there, or at about 60% complete for Hoshmosh.
Strategic
I was just coming... That's so funny when that happens. I was literally just about to say, let's come over here and check on the nuke status when Otterwalt lets one go. A nuke, that is, not breaking wind. Who will be the target? And have they adequately scouted for strategic missile defense? At this level, at 25 minutes, I would expect these guys to have some strategic missile defense in play, some coverage. Do we have any? There's one there, and it's loaded, so unless he goes wide, which he hasn't, he's gone straight for Hoshmosh. Concerned, I suppose, by the presence of the artillery, and that gets shot down immediately. So a little bit of a damp squib, that one. I used to think it was damp squid for about 100 years. My first girlfriend, when I said it in a pub, started laughing at me. I traded her in shortly afterwards. No, I didn't. I wouldn't do such a thing. Nothing like that at all. Not my style. So, Billy Nuke loaded and ready to go. We're going to get Bushido teleporting somewhere now. Ooh, is that a Fat Boy up front? It is. Fat Boy and Chicken up front for Bushido and Astronom. Now that is interesting, because we don't actually have an awful lot of ground-based firepower stationed over here. We have got an Ethota underway, and what is that? That is somebody's death. It's Prophet, defeated by Robot, so it did work. A second attempt takes out Prophet at 27 minutes. Apologies for missing that one. I should have been hip to it, but the first one failed so spectacularly. It lulled me into a false sense of security. And then we had a decent aerial attack from Sackett, which takes out the Fat Boy over here. And a gating in for Bushido, who presumably is about to let his Billy fly. Can you fly, Billy? Was it Billy? Was that Robocop? Was he a Billy? Feels like that I might have just made that up. Answers in the comment section below. And while you're down there, love, smash the old like button for goodness sake. Nice connection on the forward shield of Sackett's base. Takes down a reactor or two. Some base infrastructure. This is too funny, says Robot. Oh, look how manly the game is. I don't even bother mentioning it anymore, because I always assume full share will be on. But no, no, no. This is a man's game. Prophet got himself killed by Billy Nuke down here. And with him, his whole base is gone. Naturally, Hoshmosh a little bit slow to start reclaiming. Needs to get on that. Probably so out of practice at this sort of game. Don't play an awful lot of them. We don't see an awful lot of them. So that changes the dynamic of the game a lot. Another Billy Nuke colliding with shields up front. The Seraphim shields, though, a little bit tougher.
Strategic
Hang on a
launch
minute. Maybe there
detected.
were Seraphim shields. Maybe that was a T2 rather than a T3. Is that a T3? Yeah, you can see the difference. Second nuke out of Otterwald's nuke silo at the back there. Again, heading over towards Hoshmosh. I imagine that's going to get shot down as well. There's... Oh, no. Oh, yeah, it's about to be loaded. Assuming he's got enough resources and build power devoted to it. It's just about to tick loaded. But the nuke is almost here. It's loaded. And there's the nuke. Gosh, that wasn't a lot of time to spare. But it was enough. Some pushback now from Sloth, but you get the feeling he's slowly losing ground here to his mirror, to Benny, who's just recently completed a Tempest, hasn't sent it into service yet, but that's probably because he's concerned about these two Ithotas, which are looking, soon to be three Ithotas, which are looking to cross the channel here. Support commander in tow. Very badly damaged Ithota belonging to Backlash, just taking some pot shots at them as they start their crossing. Backlash also sending a Monkey Lord over. Ooh, this is not great for Team 2. Engineers furiously spamming as many T1 torpedo launchers up as possible to try and counter this. Another explosion at the back. Is that a second comm kill I've missed? Yes, it is, but it wasn't that one. It was Bushido killed off by Will-O-Wisp up over here, and I think inside that nuclear inferno is an Ithota. Yeah, there it is. Ithota from Willow, just crushing it, but in my defense, this was a pretty solid encounter brewing over here. You're like, there's no defense, Guile. This is disgraceful. It's pretty bad. But what can I do? Except be better. Yeah, fair point. And actually, this really didn't come to too much. Well, Ion Storms still going. Support Commander still going. Oh my god, 5,000 hit points. What is that? A Rambo preset? Well, Benny's base has sure looked better. 1, 2, 3, 4 core mass out of commission. Hoshmosh base largely still intact. Now working on a Novax. It's still like slow. I think it's fair to say this is a slow expansion. A lot of mass to be had right on his doorstep. Oh my goodness. Would you look at that? But shot down by anti-air defenses, and that's terribly unlucky. Goes careering into all of the base infrastructure. Shielding capitulates. Is there inbound artillery? Yes, there is. Oh no. Oh, that was a lucky wayward shot into the one area of the main base which was already dead. Somehow that Duke avoiding inbound fire. The shields blink back on. It's once again covered. Wow, I actually thought that was going to be a major breakthrough. What's happened to the eco side of things? Well, Team 2 are down now. Or are they? It's fluctuating a lot. They're down a bit. It's sort of like 2k to 1.9k, sometimes 1.9k to 1.8. They're down by about, well, almost 300,000 mass. That's quite a lot in totality. T2 upgrade on the way for Benny. And that's Aeon artillery fire raining down now, so we've had at least one extra one. This has all been pressure from Team 1 at this point. So, Duke just the single Duke, or do we have a second one? I think it's just a single. But we do have...
Strategic
I'm sure that was emissary fire. Or was it? Do we... No, we don't. I don't think we have an Aeon. Must be... is it Suthanus? Seraphim artillery. Another nuke out from Otterwald. Where is it? I swear I saw it. Inbound. Tele-snipe him. Who? Pickup master. Yeah. Possibly vulnerable. Do we actually have any Cybrans? Oh, that nuke gets through, but it's not going to kill an awful lot. There is a T3 naval yard. And if they weren't already destroyed, maybe some wrecks who've been killed off down here. Perhaps some of those Ithotas, if they haven't already been eaten up. But some nice pushback here in the middle, at least, from Flagon. Support commanders valiantly trying to hold this chap at bay. Probably should target the support commanders.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke out. Have we got twin nuke launchers back here, or is he just focusing a lot of build power on it? It's the latter. There's a ton of rover drones in the area. That Novax we saw being completed earlier by Hoshmosh. That's what he's targeting. Looks like it's going towards the channel, and Benny routed to the spot on an upgrade. 36% done on that upgrade. Hoshmosh and Flagon on the move. And of course, these base nukes can penetrate through the water, unlike their much weaker tactical variant on the UEF commanders. Move your comm, Benny! No! Oh my god, has Hoshmosh moved enough? Boom, baby! And there is the demise of Benny. I caught one comm kill at least. Give me props for that, if that's not worth a like. Probably isn't. But give me one anyway. Immediately. Wow. And there it goes. Tempest, all of the Navy, and suddenly a little bit of an open door for Sloth, who, for much of the game, I think it's fair to say, hasn't looked like he was going to be breaking through anytime soon on the naval front. I think it really felt like he was a bit behind, but has managed to amass a decent number of battleships here. Got 4 Galaxy class over there and a 5th back towards the channel. But if Team 2 are going to do anything, they need to do it immediately, because quite frankly, this is not going brilliantly. Oh, Pickup Master in trouble. Wow! Now that was a lucky spot. Just as he was traversing between bases, I'm guessing he was receiving artillery fire, perhaps was stationed a little bit too close to all of this infrastructure when that's gone up. You can see all of the wrecked air factories. Oh my god, catastrophic collapse down here in the south. And this is one of their top pros who's out of the game now, remember. They can manage to ditch Otterwald. Maybe this game will run a little better for them. Team 2 not been faring brilliantly over the last 20 minutes or so. Desperately needed that. Novax satellite belonging to Otterwald, harassing Hoshmosh. Hoshmosh, who's almost finished a second Novax. And no air support, says Sloth. That's right. See, it's a very different game. This whole no share business. And now, look at that. Complete air control handed to Team 2 because Willow is the last remaining player with a functioning air force. Another nuke out from Otterwald. And a Mavor! That is going to be a tremendous eco sink. 2,000 hit points complete out of 8,000. Where's that nuke going? Again, looks like it's going down through the channel. Well, he had success last time, and there are still commanders kicking around. Hoshmosh not moving this time. Flagon, not moving either. You chaps should probably get a wriggle on. How many nukes have gone down in this direction? Oh my goodness. Really? Really, Team 2? Unreal. You don't expect that from a 1900. Why so lazy, Hosh? Otterwalt loving it, loving life. And now, all of this standoff business that he's been subjected to will cease. That's where the artillery pieces were stationed. They are harassing his base. Team 2 desperately need to do something about Otterwalt, but they've actually got the means to do it now. Willow, who knows he's got air control, bringing in a couple of experimental bombers and his horde of air superiority fighters. What's the air defense situation on this side of the field? How is it looking? Well, that's very vulnerable. Oh, man. Okay, so there's Otterwalt. We have got some anti-air in play. Couple of bombs away. Shield still intact, just about. Otterwalt comm under that shield. Coming around again for a second pass. Now the shield has collapsed. Otterwalt has personal shield. He's got 10,000 hit points left on that, and then 15,000 on the chassis itself. Bombs away. Otterwalt now vulnerable. This could be a huge pickup for Team 2. First bomb a bit wayward. Wow, that didn't seem to do anything. Oh, now the shield's dropped. And now the health has dropped as well. 3,400 hit points remaining. Still a little ways to go to a very paltry, partially upgraded shield, but it's not going to make any difference. 2 bombs away. He stops his movement. He knows he's cooked. 40 minutes in, and Otterwalt goes down. But Sloth breaking through the river right now with his battleships, although there are tons of Barracudas in play from Flagon. Oh, that both experimental bombers very badly damaged. 600 hit points left on that one and 9,000 left on the other. Ah, I'm flying over a SAM. Gets himself taken out. They don't even finish it off for good measure. It's been a very interesting game, this one. Bizarre, but interesting. What have we got there? Oh my goodness! Robot trying his teleporting business over on the other side of things, manages to get out of it, saved by the relief of the land. Nuke lands in the middle of Willow's base and actually does some decent damage, I think. Another Awasar, or maybe not. No. Don't think there was anything crucial, perhaps just trying to slow down production of that Awasar, but it looks still relatively well shielded. Health, well, it did some damage to it. Health not consistent with the progress bar on the engineers, that's how you can tell. Engineers being airlifted by Astronom. And what have we got here? Another bunch of strap bombers and that partially damaged experimental bomber hunting for targets in the middle. What they really need to do is try and find a way to take out these 3 commanders. But they don't have a functioning Aeon remaining anymore, unfortunately.
Strategic launch detected.
And another nuke out this time. Is this the first one out from the north side of the river? Coming out from Astronom. Is there functional nuke defense? And a support commander just brazenly walking into the main base area right next to an artillery piece. Still a fair amount of HP, but yeah, no nuke defense remaining. That is going to cause some damage. Interesting, it's not enough radial damage to kill that experimental bomber, or at least even damage it as it was flying directly overhead, but that is the majority of Backlash's base is gone, and there is the Control K, the suicide. He is down and out. Doesn't like the way this is going. Leaving Willow all by his lonesome. Flagon got taken out a little bit earlier, I think, as well. And there is the capitulation. The final surrender from Willow. Well done, Team 1. So just a little edited section at the end here, guys, to go over some of the things that were missed in the cast. I mean, there was a lot going on. Don't have a go at me, you know. Even I, at my majestic best, or broadly speaking, my averageness, are going to miss things when there's this many players going on, but especially snipes and stuff like that, we need to cover them. So this is 23, almost 24 minutes into the game. Teleporter 30% done on Bushido, but Robot already completed his teleporter and is currently powering it up. You can see that is him about to teleport. And the interesting thing was, Team 2 were actually aware of this. Gonna get Telly-Billied. You can see Will-O-Wisp talking about the clumping of the comms. Flagon, Telly-Billy was hip to the upgrades going on over here. So yeah, there was warnings going out. They were aware of the threat, and this is the one that didn't actually work in the end. You can see him teleport away. We pause it. He comes back over here, right the way over here, and immediately fires the Billy nuke. Interesting that the ping is all the way over here when it clearly flies overhead and lands towards the beach, but I guess that's because it's a little too close. Perhaps he targeted there and it overshot, I don't know. But either way, the comms are all safely underwater, and you're not going to get enough penetration unless they are slightly further up the beach. And Hoshmosh, as we already alluded to, is quite deep actually. It's deceptive when you're looking overhead. But that flies over, lands on the beach, doesn't kill anybody, doesn't even damage any of the comms. He gets out just fine before anyone's able to respond in any meaningful fashion. Actually takes him a little bit of time. So that's at 24.5 minutes. He makes it back over here. Immediately gets the engineers to work on restoring a second Billy. Goes for a little wander. Perhaps there were some interesting shells on the seabed there, which you need to go and have a look at. But then completes that. Clock ticks up towards 26 minutes or so. We have the nuke. It might have been first nuke actually out from Otterwald, but that doesn't achieve much or anything if memory serves. We're at +4, so it takes a little bit of time here. Slow down obviously because of the sim speed calculations required at this stage of the game. And there is the second teleport command. And if we zoom out, now this is interesting. I had a look, and it's actually his exit point, I believe, is down here. So we saw at the end of the game him working the cliff edge on the other side of the map, on the cliffs up here, hidden behind the scoreboard there. But he actually made a move, so he's really utilizing the cliff edges here. And if there's any strat bombers lurking around, we saw how well these cliffs actually defended him from a strike from Willow at the end here. So it makes sense to play the edges like this. And of course, the tac missiles from the comms fly very high and very, I don't know what the exact word for that kind of trajectory is, but they take a very steep trajectory upwards before leveling out, and then they fly high. So it allows them to clear the cliffs the way, say, a static tac missile from a silo probably wouldn't. So that flies overhead, and you can see where it's located, and this time Prophet significantly closer to the blast impact, further up the cliff and in the danger zone. Unfortunately for him, everybody else is well clear of it. He just needed to be a little bit deeper and he would have been fine, but nope. Schoolboy error, and that's him out of the game at 27 minutes. Down he goes. And then it's not too long before we actually see Bushido come into contact with some trouble. He launches his comm forward, fires away one Billy Nuke, and this gets us a decent look at this because we only partially saw the first connection. There was actually a Soothsayer here, which would have given fantastic vision to Team 2. Excuse me. And that goes Kaflooey upon impact. These are only T2 Seraphim shields, so the coverage isn't at its best, whereas of course up here we've got a solid T3, and I think that protects the next inbound missile if memory serves. Lots of engineers around the comm give him some build power to fire his next one. There it goes, and TAC missile nuke number 2 impacts on the shield but really does nothing, and I believe this is the Ethota that deals the death blow to Bushido. Coming out from Willow's base, makes his way through probably this canyon here and moves straight up on the comm. And he actually fires out a third Billy in exactly the same fashion. Barely clips the Ethota as it's walking through, but still the shield. That's interesting. The shield is still at full health, but the shield itself, the shield gen, is taking damage. Answers in the comment section below if you know what that's about. There's now another shield behind it. Will that protect it? Strange interaction between the Billy Nuke and the shield gen there. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. TAC nuke number 4 sails overhead. And look! There was actually a solid TAC missile battery up at the top there from Willow that he is timing with this attack. That's going to deplete the shield and give his Ethota an easier ride. You can see actually how ineffectual the Billy Nuke is up against shields. Again, damaging the shield gen itself, but not impacting on the shield. Interesting interaction there. I don't know if it's always... I don't think it's always been that way. Must have been an intentional change. But anyway, Ethota moving up on that forward base. Bushido has not put enough distance between himself and the comm. Tries to execute the recall. Decent amount of hit points have been shaved off the Ethota by the defending point defense, but not enough. And it's very close. Gets to about 65% on the recall. But alas, for him, it wasn't to be. So that is him down and out at the 30-minute mark. And then the next person, we did actually catch the next kill. The next kill, I believe, is Pickup Master, and it's around about the 35-minute mark. So we'll jump to that. Well, we're actually going to jump to 34:47 because there's just been an interesting air battle. And I spoke about it at the transition after Pickup Master's death, saying of course that it handed air control over to Willow, but actually Willow's just won a pretty decisive air battle, so at this point he's already got aerial supremacy. You can see his fighters swarming in the middle, and the inevitable remnant of new planes being produced were making their way up there. They're going to do it again, I don't know, but at this point the newly produced Novak satellite from Hosh Mosh, it immediately traversed the field when it was completed, went up here to check out Otterwald's nuke base up at the far edge, but now has come back over towards Pickup Master's base. And at the same time as that, the two Dukes, which have been firing relentlessly over here to different parts of the base, are retasked over to Pickup Master's base as well. So now you've got two Dukes and the Novaks moving in to target Pickup Master, who is, as we correctly said at the time, loitering by P-Gens. Never a great place to stand with your comm. Of course, that volatile explosion can deal extra damage. He's right next to that T3 power plant, and if that goes up, which it might well do, you can see one P-Gen that was just sitting outside shield coverage. That's already been killed off. The explosion depletes some of the shield coverage in the area. I think it was this one which was covering all this, and that reveals more vulnerable P-Gens. The Novak satellite wastes no time in moving to one of those P-Gens on the fringes. You can see that now taking damage. Pickup Master's comm still standing right there. Schmuck Benny killed off by the nuke. We did catch that, but this is one of the reasons we didn't really see what happened to Pickup Master, because we were focused on the other side of the field. And there you can see the damage those power plants are sustaining. Another Duke shell lands right on top of that P-Gen. He's still standing by another one. Now that's taking fire, and look how close he was to going out there and then. Just 500 hit points remaining. He tries to get the reclaim off to prevent that thing from going critical, but it's too late. He's already received the damage, and now he just has to make a run for it. Luckily, that shield blinks on and gives him a bit of coverage, but he's so badly damaged, and he's just making his way up here towards Otterwalt's base to try and get out of the inbound fire that's still raining down on him. You can see the Novak satellite has clocked the fact that he's badly damaged and is now targeting him directly. He's back up to 800 hit points at this point, still going, and still being tracked. Just as he's crossing the threshold between the two bases, he's outside shield coverage, 700 hit points. Novak satellite does the rest, and down he goes at 36 minutes and 20 odd seconds. Now the last thing that I was really uncomfortable about missing was Flagon Sackett, and that was right near the end at about 41 minutes, so we'll skip to that now. So at 40 odd minutes and 15-16 seconds, just after Otterwalt has been killed off, we have a new teleportation activation from Robort, who's sitting in the channel on his side of things. And I think this is the move to the top right hand corner. We'll pause it just after he goes. There he goes, you can see on the minimap. There he is. I'm just going to hide the score sheet because we don't need that at this time. He comes out onto the cliffs on the other side of things. He has his Billy Nuke ready, fires it. Presumably he's been scouting well. I'd just like to see what he can see at this time. He has got a spy plane there, but that is his field of view. And he's just gone straight for Flagon, or Flagon, who is sat right there. Now, it's like he's sitting between two shields, which is an interesting decision. Go back to full observer. Well, maybe not. But remember, these... actually, no, that is... I was about to say, remember, these are T2 shields because of the ones down here, but that's not. That's a T3. How on earth does that manage to pick him off? He is inside shield coverage. Should be able to resist that, I would imagine. Anyway, here it is. It's inbound. Unless Will-O-Wisp has a critical power outage at the worst possible time, I would have thought that would have protected him. Or maybe he's just too close to the edge. Is one of his spiky Cybran edges poking out of the shield? No, even those are well within the bounds. But maybe this is just one of those things where the visuals don't quite represent where the actual lines of defense are drawn. And this is going to kill him, I think. When we've seen... But then, of course, we saw bleed through on the ground. The bleed through was damaging the shield, but not damaging the shield itself. It was damaging the shield gen, but not the shield itself. So is this done the same thing to the comm? If so, I would suggest that this is an example of something not working as intended. I would love to hear your comments on this down below, because I feel like he should have been protected there. The shield is still there. He was standing there. The shield is still up. Why did that not protect him? But of course the structures have taken damage. So this is something I think the devs need to look at. Am I imagining things, guys? Or is this something that needs to be looked at? Would very much like to hear your opinions, because that doesn't seem right to me. He shouldn't have died to that. But nonetheless, a fantastic maneuver. And he managed to escape, as we saw, with those... Strat bombers coming in, classically hitting the cliffs, as they so often do when you come in overhead. You're just not going to get the trajectory. You need to come in probably from that side, but it's not like Willow had the time to do that. He was already evacuating at that point, so he got out. And that was effectively all she wrote, with his demise and the crumbling of the Navy. You can see, what's-his-face, Sloth, moving back in through the channel. 3 battleships over here.
Strategic launch
there's an experimental bomber, but there's about 20 k HP left on it. Oh, hello. And a support commander teleporting in there. I remember that now. That's how he got in there. He didn't wander in, he teleported in. So you see, there was a lot to miss. as even I am, well, especially I am susceptible to doing. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And do let me know, guys, about that shield thing, because I don't know if that's working for me or for anybody else for that matter. Would love to hear your thoughts. And if you feel so inclined, if you like the show, the casts, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Base tier, which gets you access to the ad-free premium content casts of some... well, we're over 100 now. I can't remember the exact amount, but we have a decent amount of content there. It's a mere $1 a month. There are higher tiers which get you extra respect from me, but unfortunately nothing else at the present time, though there may be more rewards if I can think how to adequately compensate you. But yes, please do consider that, guys. It would mean the world to me. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.